Hi, welcome to KBTime. I'm Kabir, your host, and this week for Record Store Day, we're going to take a look at some very rare picture sleeves with Charles Szabla. He wrote for Goldmine magazine for many years the Picture This column, all about 45s and picture sleeves, and for obvious reasons, this interview hasn't aired or re-aired very much, and you'll see why at the end of the interview. Mind you, it is only television, nothing is real. So don't be alarmed. We're also going to, for Record Store Day, take a look at Gotta Groove Records. They gave me this cool shirt when I was over there, as well as Well Made Music. Those are two of the places that help make music into actual vinyl records. There's maybe a dozen of those around the country. We happen to have two of them right here in Northeast Ohio. So we'll take a visit to both of those places. And then around here, there's many musical landmarks, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and whatnot. But I went to Hitsville, USA, the original Motown Studios that they used from the late 50s to the early 70s in Detroit, as well as Chess Studios, which were used for about the same amount of time, but in Chicago. And there's so many fascinating artists and classic artists that recorded at both places. You can look those up. It's a who's who of music. And so I went to both places, and I got locked out.
I'm going to start off with some of the bigger artists, which would of course be the Beatles here. Now this sleeve, I can kind of.
Whatever happened to these guys? They had this hit, and then come on.
I don't know. I think they're working at a Friendly's something. But this one here, there were actually two sleeves that used the same design. This one for Can't Buy Me Love came out in '64, I think, '64.
Yeah.
And if you can find this one in perfect condition, $800.
Oh my goodness!
In this condition right now, I'd say about $600. So keep it away from your damn shredder.
Okay. I will. And right here, if we can just see this again, all being not very PC.
Right. He's got the cigarette. He's got the cigarette in his hand here.
Oh my goodness!
Now the sleeve that came out before this had an identical design for I Want to Hold Your Hand. Two versions. One with the cigarette, and then they airbrushed out the cigarette for another version.
Yeah.
And if you saw both of these sleeves, like at a garage sale, you know, you probably wouldn't know the difference if you didn't know. But you know, this being $800, the I Want to Hold Your Hand maybe about $80. So 10 times more because the limited number of these sleeves that came out. Speaking of big artists, here's you probably recognize the face.
Yeah.
Okay, but the name you may not be familiar with this because this sleeve was used as a prop. In the film Jailhouse Rock.
Okay.
And his character's name was Vince Everett. And as you can see from this one, the front's pretty good, but on the back we got some stains back there from somebody on the set. Probably might have been Elvis himself.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Who knows?
Put his coffee down on there.
Who knows what's in the coffee?
But,
okay. Well, since this one's not as nice, I'll put this just here for safekeeping because we know that the shredder's off. This is the safest place for it.
All right. By the way, that one's $5,000.
$5,000?
Yeah.
And that was $800?
1957.
All right, I'll put this one up.
Well, this one's only $600 because it's not in near mint condition.
Sure.
This one is, except for the coffee stain, it's on the back. So,
yeah. No one's going to see that.
So maybe $4,000. Okay. So it's a little safer over there.
Fair enough.
I'm sure.
Sure.
No, I've got stuff to do here.
Oh no.
What's the $600? What's wrong with that $600 with it?
Well, if you can look, can you zoom in on this thing? Capitol Records had this nasty little ridge on their 45s, and it would leave like a notation, it would leave that ring mark. It's called ring wear from the record, and you can see where the center of the record left that indentation, so it decreases the quality of the sleeve, thus decreasing the value of it. Beatles sleeves, because people have been collecting them for so long, they're looking for like really, really, really clean sleeves. So you could easily get $800 to $1,000 if it was like really pristine. So I mean, that's not really so bad. I mean, like this one here, this Pink Floyd sleeve has some writing on it. Now again, that's not really too bad as far as demarcation. Got a little tear on the top here, but this was their very first sleeve, and that came out in Thank God I got my notes here. 67,
yeah.
$800 on that one.
Wow.
And I could easily get 800 because it's pretty decent shape with just a little bit of rating on the front and back. So,
well, this one's colorful. Those two were black and white. So I don't want the colors to run, so I'm going to put this one right here.
You're just toying with me.
There we
aren't
go.
you? You're just messing with me.
I don't even think it's plugged in. It's plugged in. Let's see. Oh, it is plugged in. All right.
Am I done yet?
No.
Can I go?
You've had here for a while, my friend.
Yardbirds.
Okay.
I'm sure we're familiar with the Yardbirds. That was not their first. I don't know. Was
This
it
is one of the
first
last ones. Oh, first sleeve. That I don't know.
I don't remember.
This is one of their later releases.
But this one was 64, so same year as the Beatles one. For I Wish You Could, this is probably their rarest sleeve.
Eric Clapton, happy little fellow.
Yep. This was before Led Zeppelin. This was before Cream. This was the Yardbirds.
And this is how much?
Well, this one's in really good shape. There's just a little bit of ring wear along here. I would say about 600.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so about the same price as the Beatles there.
I feel like we're on the shopping network. We're telling people how
much more time we got here?
We have plenty of time.
We got plenty of
These
time.
are great sleeves.
Shadows. This is a nice, colorful one by the Shadows of Night.
From Chicago, right?
Now I should be handling these more carefully because this is near mint.
Is it?
There is crisp. Jeez. Let me hold it.
Oh, okay.
Nice and clean. Nice clean edges along here. No ring wear. Really beautiful. Please, careful.
Okay. Another color sleeve. I'll put
Another
this
color.
next to
It's
the
okay.
Yeah, see?
All
Then that's all right.
Now, there's no dogs running around here.
No, they're usually, but
Okay.
not today.
All right, and that one about from '66, about $200.
Oh my goodness.
For that one there.
Yeah.
Now the Beach Boys, another big group. Their sleeves really aren't as valuable as say the Beatles or Elvis Presley. But interestingly enough, this sleeve just came out on Sub Pop Records, which is one of those independent indie labels.
Sure.
This one came out in '98, I think.
96.
96. Thank you very
I
much.
bought this when I was 17. Oh, I just gave something away. All right. So anyhow, oh, there's a nice back to that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Very nice.
And these are all alternate versions, I believe, from the Pet
Right,
Sounds set.
and so they are still making
Yeah.
picture sleeves, even though this was 8 years ago.
8
My
years,
math is
yeah.
bad. So you don't have to worry about me figuring out your age.
Uh-oh,
there.
yeah.
And
this
here's
in.
one for the Grateful Dead, for Dark Star. When I first saw this sleeve at a record show, I picked it up to buy it. It was like $10 or something.
Yeah.
Which at the time for me I thought was a lot of money. And the guy selling it said, I don't think I want to sell that one. I said, okay, fine. And I just recently turned this up on eBay. It's really in great shape, and I got a good deal on it. I mean, I still paid. Well, I don't know. My wife's here. I don't know if I want to say how much I paid. But I got it for like $120.
Okay. Well, what's it worth?
Well, that one. See, I'm going to check my cheat sheet so I know I'm not giving you bad information. This one, I would say 800.
800, wow. So
Yeah.
you got a deal.
Yeah.
And now eBay, a lot of people are buying records on there. Are the prices getting inflated because of eBay, because it's so easy now, or anybody
I
can?
don't think so. I don't
No?
think so because the stuff's only on there for a week.
Yeah.
So you got to be checking it all the time. And sometimes some of that rare stuff just kind of slips by, and the collectors don't really
Sure.
notice it, including myself. I always
Yeah.
kick myself when I see something like this that either went for really cheap or didn't get bids or something.
Yeah. Maybe they misspelled Grateful Dead, and then most people doing a search wouldn't be able to find it.
That's true.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you don't know how to spell Grateful Dead, you're...
That's happened. I've seen
SOL.
it. What I'm going to do with this one, okay?
Can I see it?
Here's you can say anything you want on this show. Now here's what happens to shredder when we put paper in, right? It gets shredded. I'm going to put this in the part that's already shredded. So now there's no chance.
Okay, it's safe
It can
down
be
there.
yeah, it's safe down there.
All right.
But this one I'm going to leave on top so I know not to put anything else in. Right?
Sure.
Okay.
Do I look nervous? All right, Springsteen. We all know Bruce Springsteen. This was his first picture sleeve. Came out in, 73.
right?
Thank you very much. And really hard to find. Again, this one. Yeah, see, now there was a problem in the printing process where it didn't complete the flat black. So that's, again, because it was not pristine. Printed
Okay.
would reduce the value of it. But still, if it were in better shape, probably $200-300
Oh, my goodness.
on that one. But in the condition that it's in,
Not as much.
maybe 100-150.
And then-
but still, that's a decent chunk of change for a Springsteen sleeve.
And this song is first album of his, and this is the one everyone knows the song Manfred Mann, "Blinded by the Light." This is He wrote that. Can we zoom in here? There's always been a dispute about the lyrics. Let's just see. Zoom it in.
It went in number 3.
Right here. Okay. Where is it?
Or is it cut loose? Is that the
Yeah.
part?
It's on the second top.
Is it?
Top of the second
Oh, yeah,
page.
first
Cut loose
line.
like a deuce.
Cut
Thank
loose
you.
like a deuce,
Okay.
not douche.
Right. Well,
You know,
I was
the
trying to
story
avoid
was with
saying
that is
yeah.
that Manfred Mann didn't have the lyrics, and they made them up.
Oh, really?
They listened to the record, and that's what they thought it was, and Springsteen was, man.
I bet he was, yeah. He's quite protective.
Yeah.
Well, so let's see what else we have. I see more goodies
Oh, yeah,
there.
this one here. I brought this one in. This sleeve, in mint condition, $1,000, okay? But as we said before...
It was already there.
Yeah.
It was already there.
But
People.
I'm still... I still try and keep a little better care of it.
Oh, okay.
But when the young boy or girl got the sleeve, they would have their little record holder with the little thingy, the
Yeah,
little spindle,
little-
and
yeah.
they couldn't fit it. They couldn't stack their records, so they would take it and they would go bam.
Ah.
And that's what happened to this one. And unfortunately, that really decreases the value quite a bit. But because for my use, just for documenting, I don't really have a real problem with that because I try not to get too hung up with the money aspect, but people are always interested. What's that worth?
Yeah, yeah.
How much is this worth?
Sure.
So, but that's definitely her rarest one. Shelley Fabaret, of course, she was on the Donna Reed show, and then
Yeah.
Coach.
She was on Coach.
Yeah, she was Christine. I think
She was? I thought it was a short football coach. Oh, that's Jerry Van Dyke. Sorry. I don't have my contacts in. My mistake. We're running out of room. I'm just going to put this one right, like, back here.
Yeah,
and then it won't
that's
go
torn.
anywhere.
That one's all right.
Oh,
Now,
so
this
it's
one here-
okay. All right. Well,
Yeah,
toss it
yeah.
here.
I mean, don't shred it. Don't
cares?
shred
Yeah.
it, But here's some Motown stuff from Mary Wells. You beat me to the punch. I didn't want to
Ooh.
leave out some Motown music. That
Yeah.
one, about $50, because that's still in pretty good shape. It's got
Yeah.
got pretty clean edges, just a little bit of ring wear on there, a little bit of yellowing on the paper, but still, still pretty good
Early
condition.
Motown is pretty, it's getting
There
getting
weren't a
greater
lot
in
of
value.
picture sleeves done early Motown,
Yeah.
so yeah, those are pretty valuable. Although they're not really increasing a whole lot in value, as they've kind of stabilized.
Sure.
But still, they're nice to have. It's great music. Yeah.
Where should I put this one? I'll let you pick where
I'm
to
not
put
even
this.
going to look anymore.
No? All right. Well, you're not.
I trust you.
Put this on top of here. It's more protection than nothing can go in there. Because that's a cheaper one, $50.
Now this one here.
You hold that one up.
I'm going to hold
I'll
this
feel
one.
bad.
This one here. Anyway, let's take it out of here.
Oh, it's good.
Is it?
Yeah. There we go.
Okay. This one here I found at a record show for $5. At the time, I didn't even know it existed.
Right.
As it turns out, this one here, $600 to $800.
Oh my goodness.
Because it's really clean. For some reason, RCA didn't make a lot of these. I don't know why. I never really found out why they didn't make a lot, but most of his other sleeves, fairly common to find. This one's going right back in.
Okay, fine. Don't trust me.
And
That's all.
okay, let's let the audience guess that one. Does anybody know
Okay.
who that is?
Wait, let's get closer.
Yeah, maybe if we hold it in
Hey,
the
let's-
camera there. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
There we go.
I'm
Any
goofy
guesses?
on-
Tori Amos?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Before she was Tori Amos, she was in a group called Why Can't Tori Read? Matt what's his name? Guy was with Guns N' Roses, drummer for Guns N'
Sorum.
Roses. Sorum was
Yeah.
in this band too. Don't take it out.
I'm not going to take it out. Just
And
Nice and
a
safe.
couple of the last things I wanted to show you, we kind of skipped by. We talked a little bit about the Who, but we didn't show anything by the Rolling Stones.
Ah.
Now, this one right here, I'm going to handle it right now for just
Okay.
a second for us. Street Fighting Man. Now you can see at some point in time when this came out, the disc jockey, whoever had it, folded it up into quarters and stuck it into his pocket to take home to show his daughter. Maybe like, oh, look what these Stones are doing with these cops beating up these people in Los Angeles. It goes,
Doesn't
hey.
look good.
But
Yeah.
as it turns out, this sleeve came out just before the Chicago Democratic National Convention.
Right.
And there was a lot of civil unrest at the time. It was 1968. And when they released this in the U.S., there was such a public outcry against it, including including the sleeve here,
Right.
that they yanked it immediately. And so there are only 12 known sleeves in collectors' hands.
12 of
And
these?
This is one of them.
Okay, I'll be careful with this one.
This is one of them. One of only 12 in existence. And I've got
Yeah.
I've got another one here
This
of
one?
the.
Wait. Wait a minute. Wait. Wait,
Make that 11.
no. We can fix this. Can we stop tape? Can we stop tape? No? We're going to keep going? Hey, what's the other sleeve you've got?
Don Rickles, my dream guy, and I'll see him soon, live at the Latin Casino. I think I better call in my reservation now.
Enjoy Mr. Warmth, Don Rickles, plus Fabian and dinner, live at the Latin Casino. Call now for reservations.
Since Record Store Day is coming up, I figured we'd look at how records are actually made. And the first step is to take the music and have it cut, literally, onto a lacquer. That's what this disc is. A lacquer is a special metal disc coated with a film that is easy to cut into, and then it is eventually put into a bath with some nickel, and it gets a layer on it, and that's peeled off as a positive. And then where the grooves are sticking out, then they make a negative, and that's a stamper, and that's what's used to actually press the records. It's pressed into vinyl. Those are vinyl pellets. Those are melted, of course, and the records are pressed into that. And the labels are baked in at the same time. Those are some labels that they're preparing that get baked in. They don't just get applied on, like with glue. And then there's the controls for the presses. Most of the presses at Gotta Groove Records in Cleveland are from the 1970s. They got them from a company on the East Coast when they opened in 2008. And here they've just done a test record, no label, as you'll see, and they're just going to inspect it. They play them back. They're very meticulous about playing, I think, every 25th record to check for scratches. That's Vince Lusars, the owner, great guy, who went out on a limb to start Gotta Groove in an old warehouse on Cleveland's Near East Side, and that's him inspecting one of the thousands of discs they press every year at Gotta Groove Records in Cleveland. The next step on our musical tour from Cleveland, we went to Detroit, and when I was in Detroit, we went to the Chrysler House, and you'll see why, 719 Griswold Street. This is a historic building designed by Daniel Burnham, who did the city plan for the city of Chicago, amongst many other things. That's a Penobscot building across the street. This is the financial district. And inside of Chrysler House, you'll see that it's quite ornate, and they have a number of design motifs, that's pretty ornate. There's the design motif. It carries through to this AAA office to the door. And that's somehow appropriate because this building was the headquarters for the Lincoln Highway for many years, which today has been supplanted by the Turnpike. It was also the Dime Building, is how it was known for many years, because it had the Dime Bank inside. Now it's called Chrysler House because about 5-6 years ago, Dan Gilbert bought the building, refurbished it, and eventually got Chrysler to move into the top 2 floors with some of their offices. But here in the Dime Building, or what was the Dime Building, they have the Dime Store. This is a very fancy, well, I don't know if fancy is the word, but it's a very popular spot for lunch, brunch, breakfast, and we actually ate there. And then from there, we went to the other side of the city to visit Hitsville, USA. Hitsville, USA is the nickname for Motown. This was the headquarters of Motown Records from the late 50s until the early 70s, when Berry Gordy moved his operations to the West Coast. And this house that you see here, they started with this house and the one next to it, then they bought another, then one across the alley, and they bought so many, and one house would have shipping and distribution, one would have artist management, one would have the recording studios, and the museum now takes up 2 houses. And when we got there, it was about noon, and they said there were 2 tickets left for the final tour of the day at 5:30, which we did not have time to stay for. And they said, you've got to call in advance to get tickets. It's that popular. So I highly recommend, if you're going near Detroit and you're at all interested, you definitely want to get online and get your tickets in advance. Because as you can see, we did not do that, and this was all we were able to do, was hang out outside and get our photo taken. If you're a fan at all of Michael Jackson, the Jackson 5, Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, the Supremes, the Four Tops, the Temptations, Martha and the Vandellas, so many other groups, this is the place that you want to see the inside of, because all of them recorded music here, and in many cases, some of their biggest hits were recorded right here. So from there, the reason we couldn't stay for the final tour of the day was because we actually were headed to Chicago to visit with friends in my old stomping grounds, and on the way there, we found out that Chuck Berry had died. Chuck Berry of course, was probably the biggest crossover artist, most well known on Chess Records. Chess, like Motown, started in the 1950s and was a big concern throughout the 50s and 60s. However, the Chess brothers who started the label, they sold it in 1969, and by the early 70s it had kind of petered out. Chuck Berry actually left the label for the second half of the 60s, pretty much. But then he came back. He had the big hit with that song, My Ding-a-Ling, and he's so identified with Chess to this day. He's one of the biggest artists. There's also many others, and the studio they recorded at has also become a museum. But like the Motown Museum, you have to know when to go visit.
What is this beautiful proscenium arch, you may ask? This beautiful piece of architecture? It is 2120 South Michigan Avenue. If you know a little bit about music, then you're probably thinking, why does that sound familiar? That's the name of a Rolling Stones song. Why is 2120 South Michigan Avenue in Chicago the name of a Rolling Stones song? Because they loved Chess Records, which was the home of so many amazing blues artists. And here's a selection of some of them. They have banners up here, and as you can see, Willie Dixon, Bo Diddley. They've got Blues in the Schools, that's a program. And then to the right, Chuck Berry. And Chuck Berry, of course, passed away today at age 90. This is where, right here, this very spot, this studio, is where he recorded most of his legendary records of the 50s and 60s. The ones that most people know, Johnny B. Good, everything. The one that went up in the space shuttle, all of that. Roll Over Beethoven. And basically the Beatles and Rolling Stones were in high school. They heard all these records and thought, hey, we should start a band too. And the Stones, when they came for their first American tour, I believe their first, maybe their second, they insisted on coming here and they recorded several tracks which were on some of their early albums, which sound phenomenal, as well they should, because this was the house that Chuck Berry built and he was one of their heroes. It's closed right now, of course. But this is what it looks like. They turned it into a museum, not unlike the Motown Museum in Detroit or Abbey Road Studios in London where the Beatles recorded. However, unlike Abbey Road, Motown and this Chess studio are no longer operating recording concerns. They're just museums to the great music that came out of here at 2120 South Michigan Avenue.